CNC රන්න අය හදිස්සියට පරිස්සම්ම නැහැ. මුල් දවස් 10ට පොලිය ගන්නෙත් නැහැ.
The first rubber seedling was planted in the Henrathgoda Botanical Garden in Gampa in 1876. And now the country's rubber industry is almost 150 years old.
At the time when the first seedlings were being planted, it's hard to imagine anyone thinking that this island would one day go on to have a billion-dollar rubber industry. Today, Sri Lanka is the 13th largest rubber producer in the world. It has rubber plantations sprawling across 136,625 hectares, and the sector employs around 200,000 people. Many international companies have caught on to the potential Sri Lanka's rubber sector offers and have made investments over the past decades.
One of the key reasons investors and manufacturers are present here is the raw material availability. Large percentage of rubber products consist of natural rubber, and natural rubber is considered an essential element of most of these manufacturers. Sri Lanka has a reasonably good output of natural rubber.
Sri Lankan growers have come forward now. They are producing more rubber in this country. It was averaging up to about 80,000 metric tons per year during last couple of years' time. But because of the falling rubber prices in 2018-19, they did not go ahead with new plantations, and also their crop was little lesser. But once our government came into power, we started curtailing rubber imports from the other countries. So there was a higher price fetched for the Sri Lankan rubber. Now the kilo of RSS1 has gone up to about 500 rupees.
Over the last 5 years, rubber-based products have been the third biggest contributor towards Sri Lanka's foreign exchange. In 2018, the sector raked in $907 million to the country. And despite the following year being hit by the COVID pandemic, the rubber exports still managed to bring in $816 million. And this year, from January to November, there have been a $999 million rubber export revenue. The foregone conclusion is that the final figure at the end of December will cross the $1 billion mark, a feat the sector last achieved 10 years ago.
One of the factors that has contributed to this is the pandemic, where rubber glove segment has grown massively. In fact, we can't cope up the demand for the orders coming from around the world. And similarly, we see the tire market also has been getting diversified into agriculture and value-added tires. So value addition has become the number one point in terms of rubber exports. 90% of our Sri Lanka's revenue is high-end rubber products, which are world-class in terms of quality.
Other than rubber gloves and sheets, Sri Lanka also possesses a good market for solid tyres. Sri Lanka caters to nearly 30% of the global demand for solid and industrial tyres, with almost all leading brands in the solid tyre industry in the world claiming a stake in the local production landscape. But the rubber industry doesn't intend to rest on its laurels and harbours bigger plans for the future. The Rubber Master Plan, introduced in 2017, has set a target of a $4 billion turnover for 2025. Out of that figure, the target set for rubber products manufacturing subsector is $3.6 billion. But the COVID pandemic has somewhat disrupted those plans, as its effects led to a production contraction and closure of some factories. But even without COVID disruptions, there are other issues that need addressing.
Our local productivity has dropped down compared to our competitors in Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, actually by about 50%. Few decades back, Sri Lanka was producing about 125,000 metric tons of natural rubber, but now it has dropped down to between 75,000 and 80,000. Now we have to bring in more investors to this country. That is our plan to expand rubber market exports. We need economic zones like free zones or export processing zones for rubber industry. We have not yet identified a proper zone for rubber sector, which we've been talking to government, and you need facilities to do rubber factories. Availability of raw material is another problem, which we are actually now importing nearly 50% of our raw material, because Sri Lanka doesn't produce enough rubber in terms of raw material.
At the moment, the major export destinations for our rubber products are the United States and the European Union. But the focus has fallen on tapping into new markets as well.
The future seems to be bright. Specifically, African countries are growing in terms of agriculture and industrial growth. So we would have a market space very much available in those countries. The market space is there in the Far East as well as the developing Indian subcontinent. Also will have demand for specifically tires and other products like gloves. And our location, which has good shipping connectivity, makes it an advantage to do manufacturing and send it around the world. We would like the government to do is to provide more market taxes, things like bilateral or free trade agreements.
With the rubber export performance over the past several years warranting more support for this promising sector, the government plans to do just that in two major ways.
As a ministry, we are supporting the new plantations and also replantations. So the subsidiary schemes that are related to the new plantations and replantations have been revisited. So there is a stimulation for the growers to grow more, especially in areas in Monaragala district and also in Ampara. There are new rubber plantations that are upcoming. So we expect to increase the cultivation from one side. So by doing that only we can gradually diminish or reduce the imports of rubber to Sri Lanka.
The government also plans to support the process of finding new markets for locally manufactured rubber products.
In the market development programs, market exposure and B2B programs organized for SME rubber companies in Germany, Turkey and Thailand. Organize virtual B2B meetings with buyers in Japan, Korea and the USA. EDB is in the process of organizing virtual B2B meetings in the African region in collaboration with the foreign missions in respective countries.